Hi guys, welcome to vlog, I think number 12. This one is all about contraception and mental health and the link between it. I've got the awesome Hannah with me today. Hello. Who's gonna talk us through her story, because this isn't something I really know about that much, but Hannah kind of messaged me and when I started up my vlogs and everything, and she has a really interesting story about her and contraception and how it links with mental health, and it is such an eye-opener. It's not anything I'd ever heard about, and now that I've done my research on it, it's a huge thing. There are so many stories, and I think it's a really, really important thing that we need to be sharing and talking about. Because as you'll find out, I think it's a bit of an eye-opener. I had no idea about this and I've learned loads. So let's get into it. Hannah is going to just tell us a little bit about kind of her journey what happened with her and contraception and everything.
So I contacted you just because it was such an when I saw you'd started up this whole thing, I was just like, right, I feel very passionately about this, and I was probably about 2 months into coming off, if that makes sense, the pill, and I actually did it for a separate reason than for mental health, but actually I saw quite remarkably a link between the two. So yeah, I came off it to help with some really bad UTIs that I'd been having, and it was kind of like the last resort. I'd already been to the doctors on 4 different occasions. I'd had some really serious bouts of UTI problems, and I'd kind of gone to the doctors about kidney issues, and they'd scanned my kidneys, they put me on a different pill, they just checked out all the different, gave me loads of garbled stuff about eat yogurt and drink water and all this kind of stuff, and I was like, no, I'm just going to come off the pill. And actually what I noticed when I came off was that I felt so much, I've had more energy, I felt more like myself, I was generally happier. So I'd also, just to link it back, I'd actually had quite a few instances, not really serious. I wouldn't consider myself like really heavily depressed, but just had anxiety issues with going out and things like that on a couple of occasions where I just felt really negative and really tense and I really didn't want to go out, and that was so not me. And just anxious about seeing people. And then on other occasions I also had just found myself crying, waking up feeling really low, crying over the sink about absolutely nothing.
We've got a
little
cat.
Hello, baby. And actually when I came off, I had so much more energy. I was just able to be more myself and like running around and being super active, and I haven't had a bout of crying for no particular reason since. Cry about other things, obviously. I actually found myself last night. I got really angry about just some people at a bar, and just had a really rubbish day trying to get back from London, and I would otherwise definitely have cried in that situation, just been like, and I held it together, and I felt much more. I've always been like quite closed off about crying and stuff like that, and then those days as well, those really negative days where I just want to be sad for the whole day for no other reason than waking up, I haven't had that since.
Yeah, so it just turns out all of this you didn't realise, you didn't know this.
And I also, so when we were really young and at 6th form, I remember hearing a lot of people going on the pill, and people go on the pill for quite little reason other than well, it's not a little reason, I don't want to belittle that, but like you have a really heavy period or you have really chronic pain, so they go on the pill because that's the answer. And actually I just think it's really important for people to consider other options than there is just the pill, and also register the fact that all drugs have side effects. All drugs have side effects. And they don't really talk to you about that in the doctors. They check your blood pressure and they make sure you haven't got any kind of serious varicose vein issues and all that kind of stuff. And if you look on the packet, actually, we can check on that later, but there are side effects. And I suppose the suggestion is whenever you get a drug that you should read the side effects before taking them. But depression isn't on there, as far as I'm aware. And we've both done some research when we talked about it beforehand, some really obvious, like there's just been this scientific study that proves it's all there. Sorry, I've gone on a tangent. At 6th form, I remember hearing about girls that had really serious depression as soon as they'd gone on the pill, and that I was always quite negative about it, and I didn't really want to go on the pill. And I didn't go on the pill till I was about 21, but yeah, it happened to me. And I was really happy when I did go on it. I was like, oh, I feel it's just so stupid. I feel like a woman. I feel like I'm one of the girls. Oh, I take the pill. Yeah, I'm just going to take. I don't know, all that kind of stupid stuff. But nope, it's a no from me.
Yeah.
I don't really like it anymore. I don't have any. I've got alternatives that suit me better, and all the other stuff has gone away.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's mad. Like I said, I'd never heard about this stuff. I'd never. Well, now obviously I'm thinking, could mine be linked to? I've been on contraception since I was 15, and I've never had a break from it. And I was just saying to George in the car, like, I wouldn't know if my mental health issue started then, and it could be linked.
Or at the very least, it might just be your effects might be lessened.
Yeah.
If you came off it, it's not to say that it would disappear completely.
But it's just a link that I never ever have ever thought about, and I think it's just really important that we start thinking about it. All young girls, I don't know anyone that's not on the pill or on contraception, and I just think we need to be thinking about it.
Yeah.
And it's like you said when we were talking at the cafe, actually, like, you need to be thinking about everything you're putting in your body. All of they are a really good thing, but they are alien to our body. Like, having periods and this is like the most natural thing that can happen, and we're playing with it. You just got to think about it.
Yeah, there's loads of stuff that's coming out about health. I think now it's become so much more like, I don't know, like health has been kind of naturalised now. Yeah, it's more fashionable or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's loads and loads of stuff about it now, but you just have to remember that your body is in so finely tuned. And like I said, I was doing a little bit of research just earlier about the impact that it has on things. So when you're taking a hormonal pill, you're affecting your hormones and your pituitary gland, and that pituitary gland is linked to your kidneys, the effect of your kidneys, and therefore I had an effect on my UTIs. And there's just, everything is linked. So as soon as you add something into your body, something's going to go off and overcompensate, which will in turn have an effect on something else.
Domino effect,
Yeah, and it's just...
And you don't think about it. What it is like you said, going on the pill is like joining the girls, like becoming...
Yeah.
I remember when I joined, like I got the pill, I felt like it as well.
I joined the club.
I joined the club. I just think you really opened my eyes to it. And like, guys, you've got to go and just put it in Google, like contraception and mental health. The stuff that comes up from it, not medical research, which is like a thing I think we should like point out, but women's stories. There are hundreds of them, and some of them are just really horrific. People got to really bad stages before anyone pointed out that it might be the pill. They went to the doctors. The doctor never said. I saw one of them, and the doctor was like completely shut her down. He was like, "That's ridiculous. Of course, it's not your contraception. Like, it won't be your contraception."
And what's really frustrating, on another note, is that when they created the male pill, which is every now and then it will pop up in the news again, and all the guys went, "Nah, it's not for me. I felt a bit depressed and my libido dropped," and you're like, funny that.
Yeah, they stopped it, didn't they? I saw that. Yeah, so could you tell us about your alternative now? Because you've come off the pill completely.
Yes, and it's actually, there's some development on that. So I spoke to... So as I say, I was kind of at like a breaking point where I was just like, I cannot live like this. I'm so unhappy. And one of my friend's sisters actually got in touch and was... I got in touch with her and I was like, hey, I heard that you are on... oh my god, I've forgotten the name of it.
Natural Cycles.
And I just want to hear your side of it. She's super intelligent, lawyer, blah blah blah. She did all the research for it, and then and she was really happy with it. And so I wanted to be in touch with her. I didn't want it to be like a fad thing that might possibly maybe work. And she was like, it was great. I loved it. These are all the reasons you should be on it. These are some things that you should be really careful of. And I tried it, and it's so interesting because it gives you a kind of a map of your own, how you're feeling. You can put little notes in to say, I did this, I did not do this, I had sex, I didn't have sex, I drank too much, blah blah blah, which will have an effect on your temperature. So what you do is you take a You can buy one or you can buy it as part of the set, and you can buy a little thermometer, and you have to wake up, as soon as you wake up, like instantly, you have to put the thermometer in your mouth, hold it down, and it'll beep once a time, it's a minute. And that's your resting temperature effectively. So that's a really flat line base level to get to know. And if it's up or down, it may be due to some things like you haven't slept enough, or you've been drinking too much, or you've done something else, you're ill. But otherwise it will be connected to your hormones and where you are in your cycle. And it will just map it for you, so it knows exactly when you're expecting your period, and effectively you can take that as contraception when you're least fertile, because you're actually only fertile for 3 days. 3 days in your period, in your cycle, which is kind of nothing. So all outside of that time, you can just
go at it.
Just go right at it. So yeah, that was a big eye opener for me, and I was like, great, I'm going to try it. And actually, I've been really bad at it. It was over Christmas. Obviously, you're drinking more. The sleep pattern kind of goes out the window, and instead, I've just become far more settled with just using condoms, which is what I was using until then. But what's also interesting is that so when I was on the pill, it takes ages for you to get back into your own rhythm, because you're being masked by the pill and its effect. So because it's like every 28 days, that's when you come off the pill, and it's like boom, and your body's used to that pattern. So it's taken me nearly a year or more to get back into my own pattern, which is just because people think, you might think that you can just come off the pill, and actually it's not that easy. And it's a bit like you said with your medication that you're taking. It's not that you can't just stop it. It's not that quick. So you have to take that into consideration as well when you're going onto the pill, is that you can't just snap out of it. The effect obviously there, as soon as you stop taking the pill, then you're likely to become pregnant. But I'm saying on a deeper level, your cycle is totally disrupted.
Which is terrifying, really.
It's kind of shocking.
So Natural Cycles it's an app, is that right? That you
so it's
download?
an app. You download the app, and you can pay for it. So you can either trial it for a month, or you can pay for it for every month, or you can pay for it in a whole year. And obviously so if you do a couple of years, then you get discount rates and all those kind of perks and stuff like that. And the other thing you can do as well is you can help yourself in mapping it, which is what I did, is by taking ovulation tests as well. So it's the opposite of wanting to get pregnant. Obviously you're testing to see when you ovulate, and you can input that into the app, which will then help it log you as well.
So tell me about the kind of, because it's not for everyone, is it? Like when we were talking at the cafe, it's not the kind of thing I could go on. I go on seasons. I drink a lot. I'm up all hours. I never have the same amount of sleep of these things.
So that's why I kind of fell out of the habit. I am going to try it one more time and try and be really consistent with it. When it becomes a habit, and I stuck at it for quite a big block of time actually, but because I'd only just come off the pill at that time, that was still having an effect on it. So that's one thing to consider when you're using the Natural Cycles. You need to let it know that you're coming off the pill, and that'll be having an effect on your cycle. Drinking, sleeping, sleep patterns all have to be pretty regular, so you can kind of manage that by if you have I work rota, so I don't have regular time off. So say you work 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, when you have those weekend dates, you'd still have to wake up at the same time as you normally would in the week. But what you can do is wake up, take your temperature, click it, log the temperature that you've shown, and then input it into the app, and then you can just go sleep. It's just one of those things where you do have to you have to have a certain amount of consistency within your life.
So it is not for everyone, but I think it's an awesome alternative. I think it's really interesting to see more about yourself, and it looks very inward. You have to be very self-aware, which I think is what I always think is really a good thing to do. So there are alternatives. Coming off the pill and not being on contraception is it is a scary thought. I've been on it since, like I said, since I was 15, so nearly 10 years. But I'm so keen now to come off of it. It's just not the right. I was kind of when we spoke last time, I was just about to go on season again. I was like, this isn't the right time. But I'm so keen to see if there's any change in me now. I can always go back on contraception, but I'm really, really keen to go off of it for a year and just see what happens. It might have a link to my mental health, which would be awesome to find out. Like, I think it'd be awesome. So yeah, why do we think there isn't information on this? Like, doctors don't seem to really tell you about it when you go for contraception. There's not, like we said, like, there's not anything on the pamphlets. Like, there's not much medical research. The medical research that there is, all of it now, there's more coming out. Like, if you look at it, if you Google it, there's a lot more coming out. They do huge studies now. And there was something, I don't know, don't quote me on this because it might not be, I saw it on the NHS website, but it said women on contraception are 73% more likely to be on...
It's a ridiculously high amount.
To be more depressed. That is terrifying. Like, that kind of says it, 73% more likely is...
To be depressed.
If you're on the pill. Huge number.
Yeah.
Huge. So why isn't there more information? I don't
I don't know. I think a lot of it comes down to ease. I think it's an easy thing to do. Like I say, natural cycles is fantastic, and if you have a regular sleep, if you are consistent about it, and it's really not that hard. I'm just quite lazy. Yeah, that you can kind of not fall out with, but you can fall out of the habit of doing. People don't like condoms because they're a bit interruptive.
Yeah,
if that's a word. And I think it's ease, and I think it also has it's incredibly positive. It was an incredibly positive thing when it came out, and it is still a really good positive thing. It gives women that freedom.
Yes.
And it's
I think it should just be the doctors should, when you go to the doctors and you go on the pill, they should just. I wish it was a thing. That's what I wish. In an ideal world, that they said, look, just be really self-aware for the next.
Do you really need to go on the pill?
Yeah,
is there any other things that you've tried?
And if you
do surgery, they're like, right, these are all the risks.
Yeah,
this, blah,
exactly.
Blah, blah. But it's not as invasive as that. But mental health is so important, and it's still under. Just there isn't enough effort put into mental health. Things at the moment. I mean, people don't. It's not considered to the same degree of health as other physical ailments, which is just a frustrating thing. But I think we are still.
Oh yeah, we're definitely on the up
with that.
I just think it's important for us to talk about it so we know. Because I wish I'd known this, and if you hadn't messaged me, I still wouldn't know about it.
Yeah.
Which is I just
quite
think
sad. Which is why I wanted to message and this isn't a massively comfortable thing for me to do, but I just think it's so important, and I think it's under, and people, a lot of people think I'm just like a mad hippie lady. Like, no, be free, be yourself, be natural. But it goes, like you say, just do the research. I think it speaks for itself. And just be conscientious of it and spread the word. If you've decided to do it, mention it to other people, because
it could be life-changing.
Yeah,
it could be life-changing. Like it was for you, I'm sure. Like you feel miles
so
better.
Much, yeah.
And how awesome if, like, a couple of people watch this and decide to do it, and their life changes for the same reason. Even if you're not going to do it, spread the word. I think it's important. So yeah, just kind of on that topic, if someone wanted to find more about this or thinks maybe they should come off it, what are your advice, like your tips? Obviously, like the one I can really think of is give it time, like you said. Like it's not going to just be an instant change. Yeah,
for sure. Give it time. Like I said, it took me like nearly a year to be, so not to be myself, because the personal emotional side of it did come back quite quickly, but for your own actual cycle to settle down took a very long time. Give yourself a break, like give your body a break as well. I think just it's not going to happen overnight, and I think you just thank yourself for it. The other thing I would just say is to, like we say, to speak to your friends about it. So if they're struggling, then it'd be something worth mentioning. Even if you haven't tried it, just be like, oh, I had this thing. Maybe if it suits you. Everybody's different. Everybody's got their own person. I know plenty of people that have been on the pill that are also fine and that haven't got mental health problems. However, it's not necessarily for everyone.
Yeah, there's no harm in just mentioning it if your friend is struggling.
And everybody starts at a different time, which I think also has an effect on it. So if you get girls that are about, they've literally only just come on their period and they just get put on the pill. Their mother thinks it's a good idea, or like I say, they just have particularly painful or particularly heavy ones, or it's linked to PCOS. That's another thing actually. and it's like a thing that you should do, and actually it might have a different impact on your body if you've taken it from an early age to say when you were later.
It's like you were saying,
so
you're still actually developing.
Your hormones are still developing, so it would have a totally different effect, I would imagine. I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but on the way that your hormones work and the way that your body works.
Yeah.
And I just think, pass it on. So if you've got a daughter or whatever, you're gonna pass it on to somebody that's potentially thinking about going on the pill, just ask them whether it's the right thing for them, and to consider everything.
Yeah, because you don't consider it. I was just in the car with my mum, and I'd had a doctor's appointment booked in, and she was like, "Oh, maybe you should go on the pill." That was it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't ever think that was literally it. And I went to the doctors and came on the pill, and that was that. So I think the more we can have it, just talk about it, just communicate. Awesome. We've sort of talked about the last point. Like, why should we raise awareness about this? Why shouldn't we? Like, it's like we said, it could change life. That sounds very dramatic, but it could. I think it would be. I don't think there's any harm in just chatting about it, sharing it, thinking about it in yourself as well. Just do think about it. Like,
the heart. So the heart, you're more likely to have. That sounds again. It sounds quite dramatic, but it's more likely to be harmful if you're on the pill than if you're. What harm's going to happen if you come off the pill?
Yeah.
Well, other than getting pregnant,
obviously, but
that's kind of painful.
But
having a baby is quite painful.
Like we said, like there are alternatives. Give them a go. You can come off it and you can go back on it. Like, I just think this is the most informative vlog I've ever. I always do a lot of research for my vlogs, and this is the one that's taught me most. It's something I didn't know about at all, and it's been such an eye opener. And like I've shared the message, I've become a hippie girl too. I'm like, everyone needs to know about this. Like I said, I'm coming off of mine, so I can keep you updated on that.
That'd be really interesting.
That would be I'm really excited to see what that's like. And even if it doesn't have a different effect on my mental health, I'm just kind of excited not to be putting an alien substance into my body. I think.
I've tried a lot as well. That's another point. Is I went on 3 different pills. I think.
So it wasn't just that one pill that was.
Nope.
It was the fact that it was this substance going, messing with your body.
It was a combined pill. If that makes a difference. But yeah.
Fabulous. Well, that's us. Just a massive thank you, Hannah.
You're
welcome. It's just so awesome that you messaged me and that you're brave enough to share. It is tough to come and talk about this. Obviously, I'm kind of used to it now after 12 vlogs. Yeah. I'm like, everyone listen about my life, but it is a huge thing. And
I think it definitely
massive thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome.
Fabulous. See you guys. Oh, I'll put some links on. Hannah sent me a really good YouTube link about a girl that's reviewing books about this, on this topic. So I'll put that link.
Yeah, she helped me out a little bit as well, actually. Indirectly, I guess. But it's so interesting. There's a whole book on. It's literally called The Pill. Yeah. And there's some facts and stuff in there as well, which is just really eye-opening. And
I'm gonna put some links to some other girls' stories that I found really eye-opening. And if there's any links that of research that you found. But you can just Google it. It's everywhere. Fab. Thanks, guys. See you next time.